Hello, it's Wednesday, August 2nd, 2017, and as of this recording, I'm still depressed, but I'm not dead. Hey everybody, welcome back. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to download the show and give a listen. Those of you who have been spreading the word, thank you so much. Today, before I post this, today has been my biggest download day ever at 277 downloads just today. Not sure what's going on with that, but it sure is fun to see that number shoot up like that. So the episode that I'm putting out here is a conversation I've had with my friend Scott. You've heard me mention him before. And this is the first time Scott and I have sat down and talked about my depression, my suicide attempt. So hopefully it's a little bit insightful. Hopefully it gives some of you confidence to maybe open up to a friend of yours about what you're going through. Because you'll find out, spoiler alert, that Scott does not run away screaming when he finds out some of my stories. Yeah, I guess just give a listen. Before we get into that, though, let me remind you, you can get a hold of me. You can send me an email, jamoalki@gmail.com, Twitter @jamoalki, facebook.com/jamoalki, and jamoalki.info. That's JAMOALKI. Also, you can send me a text message at 248-648-1419. And that about takes care of that, so let's get right into it. So here we are with my friend Scott. Scott, say hi.
Hi.
Hi. And so, Scott, people know about you, that you exist. Those who are listening to the show, but don't know very much about you. I don't think I've explained where you live or much about how we met or anything like that. So are you comfortable sharing all that with the world?
Sure.
Okay. And I think I mentioned to you...
Maybe I'm like Snuffleupagus.
Maybe, but everybody... Yeah, well, I guess we'll see. If it's only my voice that goes out on the podcast, then we'll know. I think I mentioned to you that I do have one listener in Australia for sure. So you'll be going down under, where
Sweet.
The stars look different and the moon is upside down. So, woohoo!
I was talking to an Australian racer the other day who was in town.
Oh.
I asked him if they call Australian pursuit races American pursuit races in Australia, and he said, "What the hell is an Australian pursuit race?"
Huh.
with his accent. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Huh. That's interesting. So it's a made-up American thing, like fortune cookies.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay. So, Scott, you and I met in high school, and there was some debate that how we actually started talking. I thought it was...
I think it was... You, go ahead, you first.
I thought it was that we were in close proximity with lockers, but the more I think about that, it may have been Niles. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because we were in different grades, so I don't think our lockers would have been that close proximity. I thought it was tennis class.
Might be.
Because I think both of us had pretty much zero tennis experience.
Yeah.
But we seemed to enjoy the class.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, I enjoyed it so much I took it like 3 times, I think. So.
And we were both new to the school the same year.
Yeah. It's funny how I can't remember meeting you. And it's... Yeah.
I don't remember the exact moment. There was no like, oh, kind of thing. It was just,
so
I think it needed somebody to play, or needed a partner, and to play against each other.
Okay, maybe all right.
Tennis.
I believe you.
Okay.
You could tell me we were changing.
That's my theory.
Changing in the locker room, and we hit it off. I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with no.
Okay, good. So it's very common for people with depression. And Scott, I have depression. I know you've probably seen a few things on Facebook, but I don't think you do a lot of socializing, reading on Facebook.
I try to avoid it as much as possible.
Okay.
Only because my work involves Facebook marketing.
Yeah. So you don't want to, I guess it would be too close to work for you. So, yeah, I have depression. And the Facebook thing I started going on is that I've posted quite a bit about it on Facebook. Part of my whole kind of no stigma around mental illness. So you had the opportunity to see quite a bit, probably more than you'd want to see, but I'm guessing maybe you didn't.
I'm sure I've seen a few posts.
Okay. So one of the things people with depression tend to have really poor memories, and there's different ideas about why that is. And the one that I like, well, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that is new information to me. I did not know that. I don't understand that correlation there either, I guess.
Well, the one explanation that I like is, well, I don't like it, but that makes sense, is that people with depression, especially with major depressive disorder like myself, we spend so much time kind of hating ourselves and like feeling crappy that we don't really focus on what's going on around us as much as we probably could, or as much as other people do. So sometimes it's like I'm present, but I'm not involved. So I'm not really forming those memories. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Well,
that makes sense.
So I don't know if it's true or not, but it makes sense to me.
Seems like it would be a hard thing to prove. So yeah.
Yeah.
In theory, I guess it makes sense.
Yeah. All we know: depression, poor memory, and here are things that happen with someone who's depressed, and here's a possible reason why. And of course, if they get out ahead of the depression, then they're not in that state, and their memory might improve because of that, or just because they're not depressed. Yeah, it's a tricky thing.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Not that you were diagnosed back in high school, but do you think that you had the depression back then?
I don't.
Can you pinpoint a time where you were?
No, I can't.
Look back and think of when it started? Okay.
No, I also carry along with me, I am avoidant personality disorder, which essentially it's multifaceted, but yeah. So essentially, people with avoidant personality disorder don't get too involved with others and kind of keep people at seemingly an arm's length, because in my case, I feel like the more honest I am about what I'm thinking, what I'm doing, what I'm feeling, the more I think that person is not going to want to be around me. So, like, I know post-college for sure I was like that, specifically at work. Like, I would be talking with someone, and like in my head I'd be ticking down like, okay, 3 minutes and that's it. And I got to get out of this conversation, because the more they know about me, the more they're going to realize I'm a jackass, or I'm an idiot, or I'm a loser. And so I got really good at the George Costanza telling a joke and walking away. Seinfeld reference. I don't know if you watched Seinfeld.
Oh yeah.
And I think my sense of humor helped me out with that. I think I tend to be funny, sometimes on purpose, sometimes not on purpose. But so I remember having thoughts like that in high school, and thinking like if I share something really personal with somebody, then the way I thought of it then was I don't have control over that information anymore. Now that person has it, they can manipulate it, they can think about it the way they want to think about it. So it was very difficult for me to, as I remember it, and disclaimer, I've already said my memory is pretty poor, that I was doing that as far back as I can remember, maybe not in every situation and every relationship, but as far back as I can remember, all the way back to my days in Massachusetts. And I always thought, I always considered myself a shy person, and I've come to realize that I have no idea what being shy means.
I've always considered myself shy, or used to. I'm definitely not a super social person, at least with people I don't know. I try to avoid them too. Yeah, I don't know if that's the same thing. It's just, I don't know. I guess.
Yeah, it depends on the. Well, that's another thing that I don't. I'm all kind of squirrely on introvert, shy, all that. Like, you could call me either of those, but is shy just someone who's reserved because that's how they are, or because are only shy people battling some sort of personality disorder that they don't want people to talk to them? I don't know.
You never struck me as being shy.
Yeah. Yeah, you and I, we were pretty well goofballs in high school, right? So we hung out a lot, and we had our group of friends, and where was I going with that? So, yeah, I mean, we had our group of friends, and I was, active in that group of friends, but I remember at the end of a day or the end of a night, like, just being exhausted from talking or trying to stay funny.
Yeah.
I think that was kind of our MO, right? In high school was we were funny.
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, at least we thought we were. I don't know if we were.
To 1989, 1990, JP and Scott, I think we were funny. To 2017, I don't think funny at all. No, probably not.
I guess I blocked that stuff out, so I don't remember.
You don't remember? Okay. That's probably better. I don't remember specific instances either. But I remember something with Bill the cat, but I don't know what that's
He
about.
still sits in my basement.
Does he? All right.
Yeah.
The same one with the salt stain on him and all that?
Yep, same one that used to sit in the passenger seat of my car for a few years, yeah.
Nice. So the memory thing is weird too because like we're getting older,
Yeah, I just heard something on the radio that by the time you get to 50, not that either one of us are there yet.
Right.
Or even super close, but you lose like 50% of your short-term memory.
Short-term
by the time
memory.
you're 50.
Wow.
It was an ad for some memory thing, so that's probably not true. And it's probably not really where you should get your facts from. So take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't afford to lose more of my short-term memory.
Yeah, me neither.
It's hard enough. Nora and I are watching this show. And actually, while I'm going through names here, kids don't get names on the podcast. Just a heads up.
Thing one and thing two.
Sure, however you want to call them. Yep. They're known to be girls, and there's a boy in the house, but that's it, really. So Nora and I are watching this show, Ozark, on Netflix.
I heard something about that this morning. That's a good show. Is it?
Yeah,
I have no idea what it's even about.
It's pretty interesting. I won't spoil anything, so you can go watch it.
What the hell is Ozark about? What's the premise?
Guy is a money launderer, and he's a financial guy, and his partner, who he was laundering with for a drug kingpin, was stealing, so he gets killed, and now drug kingpin wants his money back from the guy who had no part of it. So
this is like a drama.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know, but
check that out.
So we were watching it
anyway.
Just the other night, and I mentioned how there were far too many storylines going on in the show, and Nora looked at me kind of like I was crazy. Like, oh, really? That just sounds like someone who can't follow and pay attention to what's going on. And yeah, I think my short-term memory is really bad with that because we're watching it in succession, so we'll watch 2 episodes a night maybe, and like I don't remember what was important in the first episode, the previous episode, that makes these 2 people hate each other in the second episode, and stuff like that. I don't think I can afford to lose more.
Well, that may not be a memory thing. That just may be a distraction thing, because I get distracted and we'll come back to some storyline and I'll be like, now what happened in that storyline? I think I got bored with it last time and saw something shiny and got distracted.
Well, shiny is nice.
Oh, shiny things. Squirrel.
Yeah. Shoot. Okay. So, yeah. So I'm going to tell you something and kind of get your reaction for it. How's that sound?
Sure.
So something that certainly I've never told you, but you know a little bit about, is back January 21st, 2015. So 2.5 years ago, I was unsuccessful in trying to kill myself. And I remember trying it and what I was doing, and I try not to talk about specifics I don't want to give listeners ideas on, I hadn't thought about that way, or I hadn't thought about that. But I was trying to overdose on my medication that through some Meyer pharmacy mishaps, I ended up with a copious amount of, that I had researched and thought I had a lethal dose of it. So obviously I didn't. I woke up the next day in a hospital and could only remember Dave's phone number. And so that's how I got found. I called Dave. So as you knowing me for almost 30 years. Holy crap. Okay. Almost 30 years.
Holy crap, it has been that long.
Yeah, it has. Yeah. Just 29 this year, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's your, do you have any response to that? Do you have?
Well, I'm glad you failed.
No, well, yeah, today I am too, but that hasn't been true on all days. But I'm on a string of days of, being glad that didn't happen.
I remember, getting I don't remember if it was a call or a message or something from Dave saying that you were missing and nobody knew where you were and you had left your phone and your wallet or taken your SIM card out of your phone or something.
Yep.
Basically, it was like you didn't want to be found.
Right. And it wasn't that. It was that I didn't want to be able to get help if I changed my mind. So I took my SIM card out, left all my credit cards, bank card, all that kind of stuff. So yeah. So
yeah, and then I do remember hearing from Dave that they did find you in a hospital in Grand Rapids, and yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
That was a surprising thing.
Okay, so let's change the subject a little bit. So, I mean, other than myself, and you obviously don't know a lot about my story, but do you know anybody else who was or is have a diagnosis of some sort of mental illness? Doesn't have to be depression. Could be.
Yes.
I don't know. Oh, you do?
Yes. I'm trying to think if I know any others though. I guess it's not usually something you discuss with people, and
right.
You know, me being a kind of introvert, I don't really go out and talk to a bunch of people I don't know.
Right.
But no, it's that fellow I used to work with actually who just got let go almost about 2 months ago now.
Okay.
That I work with at the radio station he was a vocal proponent about his mental illness. He was diagnosed with he has depression. I think he had something else, but I don't know exactly, and I don't want to misspeak. But
okay.
And he's active in the community about that too.
Oh, okay, cool. Good for him. That's great.
And then back in college, she wasn't that I know of diagnosed, but she was in a situation. I can't really say it was similar to yours, but she wanted to, try and kill herself.
Yeah.
And this was back in college. That wasn't a fun time.
So you knew her then while this was going on?
Yeah.
And did you do things to try to prevent that, to try to help her?
Yeah. I think I spent a couple months trying to get her counseling and get her help, and finally she kind of, she was very stubborn, and I don't know if that's a common thing with these kind of issues,
mm-hmm.
Not wanting help, but it seems to be the case, based off of what you were saying, that you didn't want anybody to help you. So it's kind of a tough thing to try and break through that.
Yeah, it is.
But I think eventually, though, that I finally got through to her, and I honestly don't remember how, because it was, 20 years ago, trying to reason.
Sure.
But, no, I guess it was more than 20 years ago. That was almost probably 25 years ago. But, yeah, I remember reconnecting with her a few years later, and, she was thankful and seemed somewhat more stable.
Okay.
I didn't get that close to know where she was with things, and, and eventually she got married and moved to Atlanta, and actually I still talk to her every once in a while. She's doing pretty good down there.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's a win. So,
although she did end up having a brain tumor that she had removed.
Oh.
Totally unrelated.
Right. Well, okay. Well, okay, so it's a double win.
Yeah, and she's fine now. She's good. She recovered from that.
Okay, good. Good. And yeah, it's very common, at least in my experience, people who have contacted me from the show here or kind of online, different places, who just say, oh, no one can help me. No, talk therapy is a waste of time. No, medications don't work. It is pretty common. And I'm not.
I guess, and I could be that same way. To use an example, my mom wanted me to go through some kind of counseling when I was going through my divorce, which was a pretty stressful time. I was pretty stubborn about not, like, I'm fine, I'm good.
Right. Yeah, so that's a different way of looking at it, right? It's possible that you were fine or you were just struggling during that because, like you said, divorce is a stressful thing.
Yeah.
But
looking back, I could see where that it could have been helpful for that. I mean, for that specific situation, but I think it turned out okay.
Oh,
stubbornly independent. That's what I am.
Stubbornly independent. Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, some of these people are people who will tell me that they already typed up their note to their kids, meaning their suicide note. Still, they say, "Oh no, talk therapy isn't going to help," or "I don't need medication," or so there's a real disconnect there, where clearly
at that point you definitely need some help,
right? But there's a feeling, and one of the reasons why I do the show is there's a strong feeling of, oh, I'm all by myself. I'm in this on my own. Nobody else will understand this. It's depression can be very insidious.
Good word.
Yeah. There's a movie too, I think.
I was thinking that too, but I wasn't going to say it. But no, you're right. I think, other than the, people, I guess maybe, let me back up. I don't think you're right as far as, in that way of thinking, which I'm sure you realize now, where you think you're alone, nobody will help you, nobody will understand. People may not understand, but I'm sure there's people that, are around that would be more than willing to help you.
Yeah, there's always tons of people who are willing to help.
Yeah, which sometimes can be an annoying thing in and of itself, but
right. Darn it! I thought of something while you were talking.
Sorry.
It was a point I was going to add on. So like the depression thing and the suicide ideas and planning and whatnot. Like I remember the morning of my attempt that I got up, took the girls, my two little ones, to school, told them I loved them and that I would see them later. And then it was so matter-of-factly. It was like, I always say, it's like taking out the trash. That's how matter-of-factly the whole rest of the plan was, to go back to the house, empty my wallet, take out the SIM card.
So you remember all of that, all that stuff leading up to the attempt?
I remember that morning till I left the house, and I still have no idea why I went to Grand Rapids, that's a good hour and a half away from the house.
Is there any highways going from where you were to Grand Rapids?
Yeah, well, kind of. I mean, you got to take 75 to 69 to...
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
But
no
nothing...
direct.
Yeah, nothing right from the house over.
Okay.
And I don't know if I went that path, if I did something else. I have no idea.
Took some Michigan dirt roads.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. And then the next thing I remember is sitting in the car and kind of preparing my cocktail of, I had NyQuil so I would be sleepy, and I had some what's that stuff, like anti-nausea kind of stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know, but something that I in my head I thought would keep me from maybe throwing up everything that I was taking. So, But yeah, everything in between there, no, and everything after there till I was in the hospital. So, and I got out of the car and I wandered. This was in a Meijer parking lot, and I wandered into the Meijer store, and they're the ones who called 911 to get help. But I don't. I have vague memories of feeling like I was walking on like a ship that was in really rocky waves. And so I was like walking at a 45-degree angle, which clearly I wasn't, but that kind of feeling. Really weird stuff. I don't know.
Any idea why you would have walked into the mire?
I don't. Probably all I can think of is that I was trying to get help. But
well, that's a good thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know that, but that's all I can think of. I don't.
Well, let's go with that.
Yeah. So, which was item number one when, like 2 months after that, when I spent a whole weekend troubleshooting my suicide attempt. And that was issue number one. Like, okay, this next time you're going to go out into the middle of the woods and throw your keys away. And you can do better next time.
Just like having like you know how you have the in the cartoons, you get the little devil and the little angel on your shoulders? Was it like the little devil that was talking to you with this, or?
No, because it's all clearly from within. It's like taking out the trash. It is just, okay, this is my reality, and my reality is that I wasn't successful the first time, but that's how I'm going to end things.
It wasn't a right or wrong thing. It just was.
It just was. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. This is probably the most serious and most depressing, and I hate using that word, conversation that you and I have had. I think it's been at least 15 minutes since I cracked the joke.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would think that we've probably had some other, probably not as serious.
Yeah, I don't know. Hearing you say that, I remember high school serious sucks was
Yes, sir.
Was something that, yeah. So you mentioned, or maybe you didn't mention, I don't know. This is, I don't know. So, yeah, you did mention that in high school and whatnot that you maybe wouldn't have been aware of any of these kind of beginnings in my personality. Is that true, or do you have any recollection of like an instance, something like that? Because anything you can remember would help me, but clearly I'm not counting on you to save me.
Yeah, not really. Clear. Thanks. I'm not a savior.
Well, you could be, but I'm not counting on it.
All right. Well, no. Seriously, you seemed kind of. I guess maybe I mistook your avoidance thing as just a kind of a lightheartedness, and like you said, we were kind of goofballs, and most of the time, I think at least I thought we were just having fun, playing basketball, going out with our friends, going out to the movies.
Yeah. Lots of movies, lots of Simpsons, lots of basketball.
Do you remember the one movie we went to? Niles was working at the theater, I believe, and you and him went off, and then came back before the movie and dropped a pile of film at my feet.
I do not remember that.
It was a movie preview, and I spent a while reeling it up so that I could take it out. That sits in the basement too.
Really? What was the movie that was being previewed? Do you know?
I could look at it, but it had I don't. It was a corny looking movie. Nothing really. I had like some famous actress in it, but I can't remember. It was from the late '80s, early '90s.
Yeah. Well,
but it was silly things like that, or going to watch one of our friends, Jen, who played softball, and we would go up to the convenience store, pick up some Jolt Cola, go back and watch the women's softball team.
Yeah, that vaguely sounds familiar. And we had like every Saturday night we went for pizza, right? And
yeah, we had our routines.
Yeah,
we would try to call the radio station from that payphone.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
something. Yeah, I don't remember what radio station, but
99.5, the Fox.
Oh, the Fox, of course.
Yeah, 1-800-995. I don't remember the rest.
Yeah, I don't know. And we had window songs, right? Where put the windows down no matter what the outside weather is when certain songs came on.
Yeah, that probably wasn't the smartest thing.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that was fun or funny when we were 1988, 1989, 1990. Yeah. But today, maybe not so much.
not quite as fun. No.
It's amazing we had friends, really.
It is. We were kind of mean to them, especially the ones that had to sit in the back seat while we're flying down the highway.
Yeah.
Trees outside and snowing.
Yeah, we made up for it in jokes, probably.
But yeah. But yeah. I guess I didn't. Maybe that was the problem. I never saw you depressed or sad or always seemed up.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. It was easy to be goofy then, because you were allowed, right? But the older you get, your goofy tends to stand out a little bit more.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think they lock us up for acting that way at our current ages.
Probably, but I don't know.
No.
Okay. Well, you know what? I think I've talked your ear off enough. So.
How long are your shows usually?
I try for a half hour, but I often fall short of that.
Oh, no, you should have. We should have stopped at a half hour and done a to be continued.
No, I don't think. No offense to you, but I don't think the quality of this show is worth that.
Oh. Okay.
So, but I still could pull it off as 21 minutes. But generally, I tend to talk, and then I feel like I'm going into rambling, where I'm just and then I quickly say, "Okay, folks, I've way off track here, so everybody have a good day," and off I go.
But you don't lose listeners, right? They come back.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I as time goes on, I have more listeners. I don't know if that's just more new people coming and older people saying, enough of this guy. So I don't know.
Okay.
So, Scott, I appreciate you coming on the show and talking and giving your side of some of my story. And I don't know.
I don't know how helpful that is, but it was my pleasure.
It's always helpful. It's a form of talk therapy, so it's good. So,
okay. Well, now I'll have to go and reflect upon and try and remember the things from back when we were younger in high school and college, and try now I try and go back and try and pinpoint specific moments or something where maybe that was an indicator.
Yeah,
that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, if you do and you're successful, I would love to hear them.
Well, I'm sure they would all be theories, if anything, at the most.
Well, yeah, put together a PowerPoint presentation for me, and I'm sure it'll be great.
I'll see what I can do.
Okay. All right, so that's it. I always end my show with telling everybody to be safe and be well. So everybody be safe and be well.